Sometimes when you think a story has ended, life finds a way to write one more chapter. For years, fans of Heartland believed they had said their final goodbye to Ty Borden, the heart of the ranch, the soul of Amy's world. But whispers have begun again. A shadow in the distance, a familiar voice, a single name echoing through the foothills. Ty. Could it be true? Could Ty Borden really be back in Heartland Season 19, Episode 4? Ty Borden wasn't just another character in Heartland, he was its heartbeat. From the first moment he arrived at the ranch as a troubled boy seeking redemption, something about him clicked. He had that quiet strength, that sense of hope you only find in people who've known pain. Amy saw it too. Together, they grew from uncertain teens to partners who faced every storm side by side. Their bond wasn't perfect, but it was real. Every moment they shared, every smile and every silence, built a love story that fans carried in their hearts. When Ty left the show, it wasn't just Amy who felt the emptiness, the audience did too. The ranch felt colder. The sunrise scenes didn't feel the same. Even the horses seemed to move slower, as if they knew a piece of Heartland was missing. And yet, despite the sadness, his presence never truly left. His photos stayed on the wall, his name was still spoken with love, and his spirit remained in every corner of that house. Amy learned to move forward, but never to forget. She raised Lindy with the same strength I had shown her, teaching their daughter about love, courage, and second chances. Every time Amy looked out over the fields, you could almost feel she was remembering the man who once rode beside her. For fans, Ty's memory became something powerful, not just nostalgia, but hope. Hope that maybe someday Heartland would bring him back. Not as a dream, not as a flashback, but as the living, breathing Ty Borden. Because some characters don't die. They simply wait for the right moment to return. And now, that moment might be closer than anyone imagined. Episode 4 of Season 19 has sparked something in the fandom, a whisper of his name, a sign that the impossible could be happening. As the story unfolds, the lines between memory and reality start to blur. Viewers are asking the same question over and over again. Is Ty Borden really gone? Or is Heartland ready to bring him home? Before Ty Borden became the man everyone admired, he was a boy running from his past. He arrived at Heartland with nothing but a heavy heart and a chance for redemption. The ranch wasn't just a place to work. It became a home that slowly healed him. Jack saw something in Ty that no one else did, a spark worth saving. And Amy? She saw his pain and turned it into purpose. From the moment they locked eyes, there was a quiet understanding between them. A shared loneliness that didn't need words. Ty worked hard, learning to care for the horses and finding peace in their silent strength. Every day at Heartland shaped him into someone new, kinder, calmer, stronger. The boy who once hid from life became the man who stood for family, loyalty, and love. He fixed fences, mended hearts, and helped others believe in second chances. That's what made him different. He didn't just change his own life. He changed the lives of everyone around him. His relationship with Amy grew out of that same quiet strength. It wasn't about grand gestures or perfect moments. It was about the little things, the look they shared across the barn, the way he always believed in her, the way she made him feel safe. Together, they built something rare and unshakable. They faced storms, loss, and long days that tested everything they stood for. Yet through it all, Ty and Amy stood side by side, proving that love isn't about perfection. It's about staying when everything else falls apart. Ty's growth was also a reflection of Heartland itself, a place built on healing and hope. He came to the ranch as a broken boy and left as a husband, a father, and a symbol of what it means to overcome. Every fan who watched his story unfold saw a part of themselves in him, the fight to do better, to love harder, to start again. And even after his departure, Ty's journey continued in spirit. His lessons, his love, and his kindness became the roots of every new story at Heartland. The ranch may have moved on, but Ty's shadow never left those rolling hills. His voice still echoes through the fields, in the laughter of Lindy and the strength of Amy. It's as if his story was never truly finished, just paused, waiting for one more ride. Now, with Season 19 Episode 4 stirring whispers of his return, Fans can't help but wonder if this journey has one last chapter left to tell. Could the boy who once found peace at Heartland be coming home again? Not as a memory, but as a miracle. When Ty Borden was gone, Heartland didn't just lose a man, it lost its rhythm. The ranch that once echoed with his laughter, the gentle clatter of his boots on the wooden floor, suddenly felt too quiet. The walls seemed to hold their breath, and every sunrise felt a little dimmer. Amy stood in those same pastures, but everything looked different without him beside her. The horses still ran, the wind still moved through the fields, but there was an ache in the silence, the kind that only comes from losing someone you can never replace. Ty's absence wasn't just about missing a character. It was about losing the balance he brought to everyone's lives. Jack missed his steady presence, that quiet respect between two men who understood more than they ever said. Lisa noticed it too, the way Amy would sometimes stare off into the distance, trying to smile but never quite making it to the end. Even the youngest ones felt it. Lindy would ask questions about her dad, and Amy would try to answer, holding back tears behind soft smiles. Life moved forward, but grief has its own pace. For Amy, every day became a lesson in strength. She learned to run the ranch, raise her daughter, and keep her promise to Ty to live fully, even without him. But the truth is, some parts of her never stopped waiting. She'd see a shadow near the barn and for a second think it was him. She'd hear a familiar sound, a truck pulling in, a door closing, and her heart would skip before she remembered. The show itself changed after Ty. The stories grew quieter, more thoughtful, filled with the kind of depth that only comes from pain. Amy's healing became the heart of Heartland, and through her, the audience grieved too. It was as if the writers knew they weren't just telling Amy's story anymore, they were telling the story of everyone who's ever lost someone they loved but refused to let them fade. Yet, no matter how many seasons passed, Ty's name never drifted away. It stayed, whispered in conversations, carried by the wind that moves across the open fields. His photo still hung on the wall, his tools still rested where he left them, his horse still grazed near the old fence. It was as if the ranch itself was waiting, holding space for him, believing that somehow, someday, he'd find his way back. And maybe that's why episode 4 feels so different. Because for the first time in years, that silence doesn't feel empty anymore. It feels like something's moving in it, like a story long paused is ready to continue. Ty's absence left a scar, but scars have a way of reminding us that healing is possible. And perhaps, just perhaps, Heartland is ready to heal completely by welcoming back the man who started it all. It started quietly, like a breeze moving through the Alberta hills, easy to miss if you weren't listening. A few words in an interview, a post taken down too quickly, a photo shared without a caption but filled with meaning. Suddenly, Heartland fans around the world were talking again. Not about what had been lost, but about what could be returning. Ty Borden, his name once said with sadness, was now whispered with hope. Rumors began when sharp-eyed viewers noticed something strange in the early scenes of season 19. A familiar truck parked near the barn. A horse that once belonged to Ty reappearing with no explanation. Even Amy's expression seemed to carry a secret, a softness, a spark that fans hadn't seen in years. Could it be a coincidence? Or was the show planting the seeds of something bigger? Then came the behind-the-scenes clues. A production photo surfaced showing Graham Wardle, the actor who played Ty, visiting the set. He wasn't in costume, but he was there standing in the same place where Ty once worked the horses. He smiled in that calm, knowing way that made fans stop scrolling and look twice. Was he just visiting old friends? Or was he stepping into something more? The internet exploded with theories. Some fans believed Ty would return in a dream or a flashback, guiding Amy through a new challenge. Others thought he might appear in secret, having survived and stayed away for reasons the story hadn't yet revealed. A few even imagined that Ty's return would happen through Lindy, his spirit guiding her as she grows into her own strength. What made it more mysterious was the way the Heartland team stayed silent. No confirmation, no denial, just quiet smiles and careful words in interviews. "You'll have to watch and see," one of the producers said, and that was enough to ignite the fandom again. Every trailer, every promotional clip was studied frame by frame, as fans searched for a glimpse, a voice, a reflection, A single clue that Ty Borden was truly coming back. By the time episode 4 was announced, excitement had turned into obsession. The title itself hinted at something emotional, something unexpected. The air felt heavy with anticipation, like the calm before a storm. Could this be it? The moment everyone has been waiting for since season 14? The return of Ty Borden, not in memory, not in spirit, but in flesh and blood. No one knew for sure, but one thing was certain: Heartland had never felt so alive. The show that once broke its fans' hearts was now pulling them back together, one rumor at a time. And deep down, everyone watching felt the same pull, that quiet, stubborn hope that sometimes the people we lose aren't gone forever. Sometimes their story just isn't finished yet. There's something different about Heartland Season 19, Episode 4. From the very first scene, you can feel it, a quiet tension running beneath the calm. The ranch looks the same, yet somehow it doesn't. The light seems softer. The camera lingers longer on familiar places, as if they hold secrets. And then it begins, those subtle moments that make you lean in. Those hints that whisper one name louder than any line of dialogue. Ty Borden. The episode opens with Amy waking before sunrise. The sky is pale gold, and for a second, she just stands there, staring out toward the hills. Her eyes are searching not for something, but someone. The music underneath is hauntingly familiar, a melody the show hasn't used in years, one that used to play in Ty and Amy's most emotional scenes. Fans felt it instantly, the connection. It wasn't random. Nothing in Heartland ever is. As the episode unfolds, strange details begin to surface. A worn leather jacket, the same kind Ty used to wear, appears hanging in the barn. A horse reacts suddenly, as if sensing a familiar presence nearby. When Amy goes to calm it, she whispers, "It's okay, boy. He's not gone." It's a line that doesn't seem directed at the horse at all. It's a moment written for the audience, a spark meant to stir old emotions. Midway through the episode, Jack finds an envelope in the old workshop, no name on the front, just a drawing of a mountain ridge. It's the same place Ty once said he'd like to visit again someday. The letter isn't opened, but the camera lingers on it, letting silence tell the story. In a show as subtle as Heartland, silence is never empty. It means something's coming. Even the way characters speak feels charged with hidden meaning. Lou tells Amy, "Some people never really leave us. They just find their way back when we need them most." It's written like comfort, but it lands like a clue. And then there's the final scene, the one that no fan can stop talking about. Amy walks out to the corral at dusk. The sun is setting behind the hills, painting everything in gold and fire. She stops suddenly. Her face softens, her breath catches. The camera shifts to her point of view, a silhouette standing at the edge of the horizon. It's too far to see clearly, but the stance, the posture, the outline, it's unmistakable. Ty's shape, Ty's stillness. The screen fades to black before you can be sure. The credits roll in silence. No closing song, just the sound of wind moving through the grass. A choice that feels deliberate, like the story is holding its breath. Fans flooded social media within minutes. Theories, screenshots, emotional breakdowns, all asking the same question: was that really Ty Borden? The answer, for now, lives between the frames. But one thing is certain: episode 4 didn't just tease a return. It reignited a heartbeat that had been silent for years. The moment episode 4 ended, the internet lit up like wildfire. It wasn't just excitement, it was a storm of emotion. For longtime Heartland fans, that shadow on the horizon wasn't just a tease. It was a spark that reignited years of hope. Within minutes, social media was overflowing with messages, theories, and tears. Hashtags like hashtag Ty Borden is back and hashtag Heartland 19X04 began trending. Fans from every corner of the world, Canada, the US, Australia, even the UK, were united by one heartbeat: the possibility that Ty had returned. TikTok was flooded with reaction clips. Viewers rewatching the final scene over and over, slowing it down frame by frame, zooming in on that mysterious figure. Some swore they saw Ty's signature jacket. Others claimed the outline of his old hat was unmistakable. One fan even matched a silhouette to an old still from season 12. The resemblance was eerie. "You can't tell me that's not him," one post said. Reaching over 1 million views in hours, Twitter turned into a detective board. Every shot, every quote from the episode was analyzed. Some fans built full timelines comparing episode 4 with earlier seasons. One theory suggested Ty had been alive all along, staying away to protect his family from something undisclosed. Another believed the show was using dreams to bridge time away for Amy and Ty's stories to reconnect spiritually before reuniting physically. YouTube creators joined the storm too. Reaction videos popped up with titles like "Did Heartland just bring back Ty?" or "The scene that broke every fan." Comment sections filled with crying emojis, disbelief, and pure joy. Many spoke about how seeing even the possibility of Ty's return made them feel something they hadn't felt since his farewell episode. That deep, emotional connection that Heartland always delivers. But the theories didn't stop there. Some fans pointed out how the show's marketing team had been unusually quiet leading up to episode 4. No teasers, no interviews, just a promise that this episode would change everything. Others discovered that Graham Wardle had posted a single cryptic message on his podcast page a week earlier. Some journeys never really end. It wasn't confirmation, but it was enough to send hearts racing. The fandom wasn't just speculating, they were celebrating. Old clips of Ty and Amy resurfaced, edited into emotional montages with soft piano music and titles like "If He's Really Back." It was worth the wait. Fans shared how his character had inspired them to forgive, to heal, to keep believing in love, for a show built on family, healing, and hope. The fan reaction felt like a mirror of its message. The return of Ty Borden, even as a whisper, brought everyone together again, reminding them why Heartland isn't just a TV series. It's a feeling, a home, a story that keeps living in the hearts of those who refuse to stop believing. When the credits faded on episode 4, most fans thought that was just a glimpse, a tease, a memory meant to stir old feelings. But then came the midweek preview clip for episode 5. No fan was ready for what they saw. The clip was short, only 20 seconds, but it was enough to send the entire Heartland fandom into chaos. Amy standing by the barn, her eyes wide, her voice trembling as she whispers a single word, "Ty," before the screen cut to black. That 1 second changed everything. Theories instantly turned into belief. Every fan who had dared to hope now had reason to. The show's silence, the clues, the strange warmth in episode 4, they were all leading to this. The whispers weren't just fantasy anymore. They were foreshadowing. Something real was happening. Something the show had been building quietly, patiently. For years, the episode's rewatch numbers soared overnight. People who hadn't watched Heartland since Ty's departure came back, drawn by the promise of closure or maybe a miracle. It wasn't about spoilers anymore. It was about faith. The kind of faith that Heartland has always stood for, that love doesn't end. Even when life changes, if Ty is truly returning, it won't just be a plot twist. It'll be a full circle moment. For Amy, it means healing the last piece of her heart. For Jack, it means seeing the boy he once saved walk back into the light. For Lindy, it means meeting the father she's only known through stories and photos. And for the fans, it means that all those years of hope, all the waiting, all the pain of losing a beloved character, it was worth it. Because Heartland has always been about coming home, no matter how far you've gone. But maybe the magic of this moment isn't just in Ty's return. Maybe it's in what he represents: love that endures, faith that never fades, and the belief that goodbyes aren't always forever. The show doesn't need to show his face right away. Even a voice, a shadow, a quiet "Hey Amy" could bring every fan to tears. Because sometimes the most powerful comebacks aren't loud, they're gentle. Just like Ty himself. As the screen fades to black and the familiar Heartland theme plays, there's a sense that something sacred has come full circle. Not a resurrection, but a restoration. A promise kept. And whether Ty Borden truly rides back into Heartland in the next episode or not, one truth remains: he never really left. He's been there all along, in the land, in the hearts of those who loved him. And in every quiet moment where hope refused to die, because Heartland isn't just a story about loss, it's a story about return. And maybe, just maybe, this time the story is finally ready to bring him home.